SDA Kinship. It is so nice to be able to connect with you through this medium, this platform, right? Isn't it awesome that we're able to connect with people from all over the world and make friends and get to know people from places we've probably never even been at. And I am so grateful to God for inspiring someone, giving them the creativeness for creating these platforms, because I'm able to connect with my family in Australia. I'm able to connect with you wherever you may be, and together we are able to learn more about God and his love for one another. This is a great way to be able to share who God is and how much he loves each one of us. So today I am blessed to be able to share a message, a word that God has given me for you. Let me start by saying that I love reading about Jesus and learning about how he interacted with people. And many times in the Bible, when we see Jesus, interacting with people, connecting with them, we see that he's seen eating with them. He's eating with sinners, talking with tax collectors, hanging out with those who are different. The rejected, the least of these, the outcasts, those who are looked down upon. He always took time for people, and usually those you least expected, right? So it makes me wonder, how do we view people? Do we view people like Jesus views people? Do we take the time for people like Jesus took the time for people? And I wonder, how many times have we probably missed moments to be like Jesus? To love and value people and interact with them like he did. People who may be seen as different, do we take time for them? Have we really done our best to be like Jesus? And every day I ask myself, how can I be the kind of person that isn't afraid of sinners? Now remember, we're all sinners, but we're usually afraid of those who sin different to us. So how can I be a person that isn't afraid of anyone, right? To be the kind of person that isn't afraid of people who are different, the kind of person that values people over everything like Jesus did. I want to share with you that growing up, I pretty much went to an Adventist school my whole life. And it wasn't until 12th grade, my senior year, my last year of high school, that I went to a public school. My parents thought that going to an Adventist school that was over an hour away was too much. My grades weren't doing very good. So they're like, the best thing is, let's send you to a school close by. The public school was 10 minutes from home. I was not too happy, but hey, they did that anyway. So I'm gonna be honest. Going to that public school made me feel so uncomfortable, so out of place. It's like I didn't belong there. Because remember, I had always gone to an Adventist school. People there were similar to me. They thought similar to me, similar beliefs, and they went to an Adventist church like I did. So it was comfortable and didn't really feel that much out of place. But now here I am. I find myself in a place where most people probably didn't go to church. Definitely not an Adventist church. Some probably didn't even believe in God. I found many of the kids smoking in the bathrooms, having parties all weekend. Their conversations always included drugs, sex, and alcohol, and things we avoided talking about in public in the Adventist school, right? It was talked about, but not in public. But you see, I grew up being taught that my behavior would save me, that going to church would make me holy, and avoiding certain people would, make me all righteous, right? And avoiding certain conversations would bring me closer to God. But as I look back, I realized how much I didn't understand the gospel. I didn't really know what it meant to love God and love others. And as I reflect on my time there at the public high school, it saddens me to remember that there was a particular young girl who I knew, who struggled with her identity. She had eating disorders. She was searching for love anywhere and everywhere, and she so desperately needed to be reminded that she was loved, that she was special and valued. She kept looking for a true friend, looking for someone she could trust, and I was there. Yet I was too busy trying not to be like the rest of them that I didn't realize God had placed me there for a reason. But I was so caught up in my self-righteousness that I missed out on a beautiful opportunity of being Jesus to her. And who knows how many more beautiful opportunities I missed out on because I was more concerned about trying to be holy, keep myself away from those people who are different, than about loving people that God loves. Many times we get so caught up in avoiding people because we want to be different to the world, right? That we forget the true reason why we're Christians. We get caught up on trying to be perfect or trying to be holy or trying to have our life all figured out and together that we forget what it means to be a Christian, the true meaning of being a disciple of Jesus. And if we go to our Bibles right there in John 13:35, Jesus says it clearly what a disciple is. So read it there with me. John 13:35, it says, your love for one another. Guys, did you hear that? Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. It's not how many times we go to church. It's not how perfect we behave. It's not how many Bible verses we know by memory. It's not how many people we avoid. It has to do with our love for one another. And friends, I don't want to miss out on any more opportunities to love people, to be Jesus to them. I want to see people in such a way that it draws me to them and it doesn't make me run away from them. Or it doesn't make me want to push them away from me. And Jesus was so good at connecting with people and interacting with those who didn't think like him or believe like him. He was comfortable around anyone because he valued each person. Jesus sat with them, ate with them, and he wasn't afraid of what other people thought, including religious leaders, the Pharisees. Right? Those religious leaders within that Jewish community. And every time Jesus was with people who were different to them, they were bothered. The Pharisees did not like it when they saw Jesus eating with sinners. Have you ever had any religious people get bothered by who you hung out with? Well, you're in good company because Jesus did just that, right? The religious leaders were bothered by every time he was around people that were considered sinners. And every time Jesus had to try to explain to them how valuable people are, and it seems like no matter how many times they never got it, right? And then he had to try to tell them, hey, even those who you think are not good enough, those who you think are far from God, they are valuable, they are important, they are precious, and they need to be loved. And today I want us to look at one of the stories Jesus shared with the Pharisees. One of the explanations he tried to give them of how to value people. And from this story, I want to share two lessons. All right, two lessons that I learned from this parable. It is found in Luke chapter 15, and I'm sure some of you know this story well, or you probably grew up hearing it, or you've heard it at some point, the parable of the lost sheep, right? And today I want us to look at how we can love like the good shepherd. How can we love like the good shepherd? All right, if we go to Luke chapter 15, beginning with verse 1, it says there, tax collectors and other notorious sinners. Tax collectors were considered sinners, right? Nobody liked them. Tax collectors and other notorious sinners often came to listen to Jesus teach. They were drawn to Jesus. They wanted to hear what he had to say. And it says in verse 2, this made the Pharisees and teachers of religious law complain that Jesus, was associating with such sinful people. How could he, right? Even eating with them. The Pharisees, guys, didn't understand how Jesus could be surrounded by sinners and eat with them. And not just any sinners, but notorious sinners. Sinners, people who were well known for doing bad things. People who were not religious. People who didn't go to the temple, didn't go to church. And in those days, when you ate with someone, you associated yourself with them. So Jesus is associating himself with these people who are considered outcasts, people who are looked down upon, the rejects, the least of these. Jesus was hanging out with them. But that didn't bother Jesus because Jesus saw these people as people, right? Even though others saw them as only sinners, they were people and they were just as important as the rest. And he didn't care what anyone else thought. He needed to let people know that they were loved, even when the rest of the world was against them. He wanted to be present in their life. And Jesus never lost an opportunity to let people know how important and valuable they were. So if we continue reading there, Jesus now shares this story with the Pharisees. He says in verse 4, Luke 15, verse 4, it says, "If a man has 100 sheep and one of them gets lost, what will he do? Won't he leave the 99 others in the wilderness and go search for the one that is lost until he finds it? And when he has found it, he will joyfully carry it on his shoulders. And when he arrives, he will call together his friends and neighbors, saying, 'Rejoice! Rejoice with me, because I have found my lost sheep.' And in that same way, there is more joy in heaven over one lost sinner who repents and returns to God than over 99 others who are righteous and haven't strayed away." Here we have Jesus trying to explain to the Pharisees the importance of people, all people, no exceptions, and how valuable each person is. And he tells them, there's one sheep that wanders, that disappears, is no longer together with the 99 other sheep. It doesn't say why that sheep wandered or left. Perhaps the 99 kicked it out. Who knows, right? But what we do know is that the shepherd goes out to find that one because that one is important to him. Question: what would you have done if you were the shepherd? If one of your sheep had left, what would you have said? Would you have said, "Oh, it's just one sheep. I got 99 here. I cannot afford to lose a majority over one. It's not worth it. We'll get another one between these 99, right?" Would you have said that? Or would you have done as the shepherd did and go after that one, risking losing the rest because that one is just as important, just as valuable? You see, to the shepherd, all his sheep are equal. He loves all his sheep, every single one. And the first lesson I want to share with you today from this parable, the parable of the lost sheep, and how we can love like the good shepherd, is to know that, number one, love goes beyond words. Love moves you to do something. It moves you to action. It's not just words. It's easy to say, "I love you," but if you never show how much you love someone, are they really going to know you love them? Have you ever tried that? You say, "I love you," but what if you never call them? You never do something special for them. You never remember their birthday. You never take care of them when they're sick. You never check in on them. You never go out of your way to express your love for them in some kind of way. How are they going to feel? Are they really going to believe you that you love them? Well, maybe, they'll let you slide for a little, right? But eventually they're going to be wondering, do your words really have meaning, or are they just words? They're going to question your love for them because love, guys, has to be expressed beyond words. Because love watches out for another. And now my question to you, how do you think the shepherd knew that one of his sheep was missing? We know he loved them, but then he realized one was missing. How did he realize one was gone? Because the shepherd knew exactly how many sheep he had. He had 100. He knew each one by name. He checked up on them every single day. He knew what they looked like, what they sounded like, what they liked, what they didn't like, what made them happy, what made them angry. If one was missing, you can be assured that he knew. Do we know who is in our community? Do we really know, guys? so much that when someone is missing from our community, or we haven't seen them in a while, do we realize it? Do we even bother to do something about it? We say we love our community and we love those in our community, but do we just say it or do we mean it? Do we really notice when someone is not present? Do we ask ourselves, hey, where's John? Where's Sarah? Where's Anne? Where's Joel? I haven't seen him for a while. Where could he be? Do we just think about them and wonder where could they be, or do we do something about it? You see, the shepherd didn't just realize that one of his sheep was missing. He didn't just think, oh, one's gone. Who knows where he may be? Too bad. No, he actually does something about it. He goes out of his way and he begins to look for that sheep everywhere. He walks for who knows how long, maybe in the dark, maybe in the rain, maybe in the cold, maybe under the hot sun, probably runs out of food and water, going up mountains, down valleys. He is seeking and searching, doing whatever it takes because he loves that one and doesn't give up until that one sheep is found. Just before our youngest was about to be born, I was in New York and my husband had to go to New Jersey this particular weekend, right? He had a youth leadership event that he was leading. It was an event that started on Friday and it went until Sunday. And for some reason, we had a hunch that maybe our child would be born 2 weeks early, just like his older brother, right? We weren't sure, but we just thought maybe, but my husband had to be at this event and he's like, let me go to the event, get it all ready, get the leaders in place, and then I'll come back. So he was there Friday night setting up, leaving it all ready and telling everyone I got to get back to New York because my son may be born. And then it's all Friday night, he's working and he leaves really, really early Saturday morning. But check this out, there was a snowstorm. We weren't expecting it. We didn't know it was going to snow that much, but he had to come home. And he got in his car and he started driving home. There was a lot of snow. Visibility was really bad. There were cars stuck on the side of the road. There were accidents and he was driving at like probably 10 miles an hour or less. But he needed to get home just in case his son would be born. And a trip that would usually take an hour took him, over 4 or 5 hours. And without any sleep, he finally gets home, ready to, get a little rest just for a moment. But then right there, all of a sudden, I get the first contraction. Oh man, our hunch is probably right. Joel is coming. And Joel waited just enough time for his dad to get home. Isn't that cool? But you see, Jose could have said, I love you. There's a snowstorm. He's probably not going to be due yet. He's due in 2 weeks. We'll be okay. I'll see you Sunday. He could have just left it at that. But when you limit your words, your love to just words, you may miss out on beautiful experiences. Did you hear that? When you limit your love to just words, you may miss out on beautiful experiences. My husband could have missed the beautiful experience of our youngest son's birth if he would have just said, I love you. But no, his love drove him to do something, to actually get in his car, drive through a snowstorm, and get home to be present for when our child was born. Have you ever had someone do something like that for you? Drive for hours to see you, perhaps in the rain, in the snow, all night? Or maybe send you random gifts or call you out of the blue just to say hi or visit you just because? Have you ever had someone stand up for you when you were being bullied or speak up for you when you have no words? Have you had someone by your side when you were hurting? Doesn't it make you feel loved when someone does something for you beyond words? A kind gesture, an act of compassion, something more than just saying, I love you. Because you see, love cannot be held inside or kept to yourself. Love needs to be expressed. It needs to be shared. It can't be contained. Love is not just words. Love is doing something for someone else. And God needs each one of us to share his love beyond words. And I gotta tell you, there is no specific way of sharing his love, because God's not interested in everyone sharing love the same way. God is interested in reaching as many people as possible with his love. And for that to occur, guys, we all need to share his love in our own unique and different way. For example, not everyone is comfortable in giving a hug, right? I'm a hugger. I love hugging people, but not everyone is comfortable giving a hug, but you can smile, right? Or not everyone can preach in front of a crowd about God's love, but you can share a sandwich with someone who forgot their lunch. Not everyone is able to go to a shelter to feed the homeless, but you can give a compliment. You can encourage someone who may be having a bad day, or you can give someone a call. Not everyone can afford to buy a new toy for a child in need. Perhaps they're struggling financially, but you can give of your time to play soccer with a group of kids at the park. Not everyone wakes up motivated to change the world, yes, but some of you can hold open a door for someone or help an elderly cross the street. I want you to begin thinking of ways how you can express love, how your love for others can move you to action, to do something beyond words, not just say, I love you, but actually mean it. Because love can be expressed in so many ways. There's no right way or one way of sharing love. Guys, we're never going to be able to write down every way we can express love or how we can share love, because just when we think we've thought of all the possibilities, God comes up with another way. Isn't that amazing? Because God is so big and creative, and his love is so overflowing that there's always a new way to tell someone how much you love them. So if you're not doing something more than just saying, I love you to someone, you probably need to rethink your definition of love. Did you hear that? If you're not doing something more than just saying, I love you to someone, you probably need to rethink your definition of love. And as a church, as a community, if we say we love God and love people, that means all people, then our actions need to match our words. Got it? Our actions need to match our words. Lesson number 2. All right, what did I learn from this parable of the lost sheep? Lesson number 2, love lifts people up, not brings them down. Did you hear that? Love lifts people up, not brings them down. Now, right now, I want you to take a moment and picture the shepherd looking for the sheep. He is tired. He has walked for hours, up mountains, down valleys. His feet hurt. His toes are numb. He is hungry. He is thirsty, thinking, where is this sheep? Yet he continues. He doesn't give up. He keeps searching, keeps looking anywhere and everywhere. And all of a sudden, he finds the sheep. And he says, there you are. I found you. I am so glad I found you. I've been looking everywhere for you. Oh, I have missed you so much. I was worried for you. I didn't know where you were, but I couldn't live another day without you. I had to find you. You are everything to me. Are you okay? Are you hurt? And he begins to hug the sheep and kiss it and lifts it up and puts it over his shoulder and carries it home. And he rejoices. He rejoices because he found his lost sheep. How many of us, when we find that lost sheep, would probably have been quick to frown upon it? All right, or scold the sheep for leaving the rest of the community of sheep and say, hey, time out. You have been disobedient. Shame on you. How could you leave like that? How could you make me walk for hours up mountains and valleys in the cold, in the heat? How could you do that? Or perhaps we wouldn't have even looked for the sheep, right? We would have abandoned the sheep, or perhaps ostracized the sheep, or put a leash on the sheep. Say, you're not going anywhere. This will keep you here. Or perhaps we would have beaten the sheep for wandering too far, right? How many times have we brought people down instead of lifting them up? How many times have we brought people down instead of lifting them up? Jesus in this parable is reminding us love doesn't beat the sinner down, it lifts the sinner up. And when the shepherd found the sheep, it didn't matter how dirty it was or where it was. He picked it up, assured the sheep his love never changed, and carried it home. Many, many years ago, I was a very young girl, and I had this major argument with my parents. I don't really remember the argument, but I do remember I wanted nothing to do with them. I wished I wasn't a part of the family. I wish they were so far away from me, or I was far away from them. I did not want to be around them. I wanted to be left alone. I was angry. And I knew I couldn't run away because I was too young and too scared. But I found a spot in our house where I could hide, where I could disappear for a long, long time. And it was this corner behind a display in my parents' office. I knew they would never look for me there. So there I go, hide in that little corner. And I sit down on the floor, my arms across. I'm angry. Angry with my parents, hoping I would never see them again. I know this is me being petty. I was trying to scare my parents because, hey, I was upset with them. I was very, very upset. Well, as time passed, I hear my mom calling my name. Joanne. Nope, not hearing it. I ignore it. I'm not answering. And then she calls again. Joanne. Nope, I'm mad at my mom. I'm not responding. I'm going to stay quiet so she does not find me. But yet, as time passes, my mom's voice begins to change. And instead of just calling my name, her voice is now louder and louder. And I hear her crying out my name, Joanne! And she starts sounding anxious, right? Because she can't find me. And then I hear people all of a sudden running back and forth. I hear doors opening and closing. I'm like, what's going on? Joanne, where are you? I could hear my mom's voice breaking now. And then all of a sudden, the anger I felt changed. The thought of never wanting to see my parents again changed. The feeling of wanting to stay away changed, because no matter how angry I was, I wanted her to look for me. I wanted her to find me. I wanted to know that I mattered and that she loved me and that no argument was too big for her to stop loving me. And the more I heard my mom desperately looking for me and hearing how scared she was to lose me and hearing her voice break as she's yelling out my name, I couldn't hide anymore. I couldn't stay away. I had to tell her I was okay. So I got out of my hiding place and I said, Mom, I'm here. And my mom ran towards me and hugs me. And listen up, she didn't tell me how disappointed she was or how upset and she was with me for scaring her like that or for doing this, for hiding. She told me, guys, how scared she was to lose me, how scared she was that she didn't know where I was and that she was looking for me everywhere. She told me how much she loved me and how important I was to her. And she reminded me that nothing, no argument, nothing would ever stop her from loving me and pursuing me. How many times have we wandered or hid or left our home or community for whatever reason? Yet deep down, we desire someone to search for us, to look for us, to let us know we are loved. Because we all want to be loved. We all want to know we are valued and worthy of love. We all want to know we are important enough that someone looks for us, thinks about us, and does something to find us, to let us know we are loved. Now listen up, friends. Can you imagine if there was a church, a community that seeks out those who have wandered, and it doesn't stop looking for them until they are found, to show them how much they are loved and valued? Can you imagine a church, a community that continually pursues those who haven't been seen in a long time, and it reaches out to them and lets them know they are not forgotten? Can you imagine a church, a community that goes out of its way to express love beyond words, to express love with actions, with more than just thoughts and prayers? A community that isn't afraid to eat with sinners, unafraid to associate with those who are different. Can you imagine a church, a community that values people so much that people are more important than traditions, more important than personal preferences, more important than anything? A church, a community where people are loved, lifted up, encouraged, and celebrated. Wouldn't you want to be a part of a community like that? Community that values people above everything? Well, it begins with me and you. And this week I want to encourage you to think of 3 people. I know there's more, but begin with 3 people that you haven't seen in a long time, and I want you to reach out to them. I want you to love them beyond words. I want you to send them a message, call them, text them, visit them, take them out for coffee, eat with them, associate yourself with them, right? And tell them they are not forgotten. Remind them they are loved and how special they are. Love them beyond words. Do something, a kind gesture for them. And not only at that, lift them up, encourage them. Can you do that this week? I also want you guys to remember that you are where you are for a reason. And there are people in your sphere, in your community, who need to experience God's love through you. So please, don't let an opportunity pass you by like I did in high school to be Jesus to someone today. Don't hesitate, because there's someone who really needs you to pursue them, needs you to love them. Right now, I also want to give the opportunity to someone who really wants Jesus in their life, but they're not quite sure about taking that next step. Maybe you're watching and you haven't made the decision to be baptized, to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, because you think, I gotta have it all figured out. My life's gotta be perfect. But I want you to know that you don't have to be perfect or have it all together. Baptism is just the first step. It's a defining moment in your life where you're telling everyone publicly how much you love Jesus and that you want him to be a part of your life. This is just the start of a beautiful journey. So if you would like to accept Jesus into your life and be baptized, please let us know there in the chat or send us a message. We want to make it happen for you, and we want to celebrate with you this beautiful decision. We want you to know that you don't have to journey on your own. You don't have to do life alone. We are here with you. So let us know that we can make it happen, because having Jesus in your life is the best decision you can ever make. So finally, I ask, how can we love like the Good Shepherd? How can we love people like Jesus does? By loving people with more than just words. A love that moves us to do something for them. A love that moves us to action, where they can hear more than just words and truly know that they are loved. Number 2, by lifting people up instead of bringing them down. By reminding people they are worthy, they are valuable, encouraging them. By not looking at their mistake or what they did wrong, because we all mess up, right? But just loving them where they're at. Journey with them, hug them, kiss them, and lift them up and bring them home. May we never, ever let an opportunity pass us by where we can be love, be Jesus to someone. Let's pray. Dear God, please help us to never lose an opportunity to be just like you to someone, to be unafraid to hang out and eat and associate with those who are different, those who are seen as the least of these. Help us to be like you in loving people beyond words by doing something for them to truly know they are loved and thought of. And help us to always lift people up and encourage them, never bring them down, because there'll be moments where we're going to need people to lift us up as well. Help us to be your hands, your feet, and your heart wherever we may go, that people may see you through us and may want to get to know you more. This world needs so much more love, God, needs so much more of you. And help us to be the kind of person that shares your love with those around us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much, Pastor Joanne Cortez, for bringing us that wonderful message, very inspirational message for us this evening. And we want to thank each of you who are joining us live in community on this Friday night, and we wish you a blessed Sabbath. And if you're watching this on demand, we hope that you also have a blessed day and that you were inspired by the message. If this is the first time that you're hearing about SDA Kinship or the Kinship Worship, this is a program that happens each first Friday night of the month. You can catch us on YouTube or on our Facebook page at SDA Kinship, and there we have the previous sessions on our YouTube channel, so you can also watch the programs that you missed. SDA Kinship is the only queer-affirming organization for current and former Seventh-day Adventist. And if you're not familiar with us, we invite you to go to our website, sdakinship.org, and check us out, or follow us on social media at sdakinship.org. And if you recognize the background that I have here, I also want to let you know that we have a podcast that comes out several times a month called Kinship Connects, and you can search for it on your favorite podcast platform and follow us and listen to the versions there, or you can watch us on YouTube as well at SDA Kinship INT. We also have another podcast brought to us by Kendra Arsenault, and that's called Imago Gay, and that drops every Friday, and you can also catch that on your favorite podcast, Spotify, Apple, Android, Google, whichever ones you follow, or you can get more information on that from our website at sdakinship.org. So thank you very much, and we hope you have a blessed week, feel inspired and renewed, and know that you're not alone. God is with you every step of the way, and your kinship community is also here with you. We invite you to become a member if you're not already a member. We're open for both the queer community as well as parents and family and supportive allies. We feel that we can share with each other and grow together in Christ as a community. So thank you, take care, and have a good Sabbath. Bye-bye.